I'm Victoria Barnes, and today I am recording because I wanted to come on camera and talk about some of the programs and projects that our nonprofit Victorious Roots offers. Since COVID, I have been doing build projects. I taught myself to build, and through some of the build projects, I have a skill set that I offer services with. One of the things that I've struggled with is really promoting myself and letting people know what we're about and what we can do and what we offer in the community. And today I wanted to take that opportunity to do so. Let me start again. I'm Victoria. I am 56. I just turned 56 March 18th. And I have discovered quite a few things in my 50s about myself. I did finance, purchasing, and accounting for over 30 years. And before COVID, the company I worked for downsized. I stepped away and started My Financials Outsourced LLC. And with that service, what I provided was bookkeeping for small companies. I also help people to get incorporated with their own LLCs, as well as helping people establish their own nonprofits. I do small business coaching, and I walk people through the process of how to run their small business. A lot of times when you want to start your own business, you just go in with an idea. But what you don't consider is that everything else that comes along with it, the advertising, the accounting, if you have to manage people, your project may have been your dream or your goal or your passion may have been you wanted to do hair bows. You're really good at building or crafting hair bows. And so many people said, oh, you should go into business. You should sell these. We will buy them. So, with this excitement and a dream that you can do hair bows really, really well, you started a business. But then once you started that business, you got burnt out because you didn't realize everything that came along with running a business. So, a lot of times businesses fail in the first few years because people are not aware of those expectations. So, with that, I help people and I do a little bit of coaching to help guide them along and letting them know that with just a little bit of focus and pacing themselves, it's possible to be successful. We have a nonprofit called Victorious Roots, and our focus is family and community. With that, we do Boys to Men mentoring, ladies and darlings etiquettes. We do healthy relationships and marriage matter workshops and seminars. We also have young entrepreneurs. If the student has a talent, a hobby, or a skill set, that is a potential business. And we help nurture them and we partner them with retired professionals that can coach and mentor them along the way. So that way, when they're ready to go off to college, they already have a sense of entrepreneurship. I've done programs driveway in my garage and a breezeway behind the house. We've done Bible study, uh, auto auto shop. Was it auto shop? Yeah, my husband sort of led that one. It was what you didn't know about a car, but it was for the children, and it was pretty exciting because you had a lot of children asking questions about different things on a car that they probably never even thought to ask, but because the opportunity and the window was open for them to ask questions and learn, they were super excited. We've had geoboards, constructing geoboards, which is an intro to geometry. We've had martial arts training. So during COVID, I decided I wanted to build a walk in closet. We had this little space in our bedroom that we weren't doing much with, and we had a step in closet. So I kept telling my husband that I wanted to take that wall down and extend it and make it a walk in. And that's what I did during 2020. I had the wall taken down. At the time, I didn't know I could do it myself, but now I know I could have done it. But I had the wall taken down and extended about 6 feet, and it gave us a really nice space for me to build a nice closet. And that was the beginning of me learning that God had put a talent in my hands for building that I didn't even know I had. Or some inquiries coming to me about building some props. Um, One of my close friends would do women's conferences, and she came to me and she's like, Victoria, can you build me a door, a working door that open and shut? It turned out great. And she wanted me to build a safe, like a vault. She said, the conference was called Unlock, and she wanted this safe or vault looking uh, prop built. And she told me the height and the size and the width, and I built it. I didn't know I can do those things until I tried and attempted to. I've also done lots of projects around the house. Our bedroom didn't have a light fixture in the ceiling, so we have a vaulted ceiling. So I cut it and I put a V box in there, and I went up in the attic in the crawl space. I ran the wiring. I took the one gang out and put a two gang so that the original switch still worked to the wall, and the second switch would work to the light fixture. And I put a fandelier. Yes, a fandelier. I didn't even know that what that was until I got one. But it's a chandelier looking fan that you can turn it off and the fan collapses, and you turn it on, the fan opens up. It's beautiful. But I did it myself, the electrical myself. I'm not an electrician, but it's our home. I wouldn't do any electrical for anyone else's home. But for our home, I did. And I took all the safety measures. I bought this tool that when you plug it in, it lights up if you wired it correctly. It lights up in a certain pattern. And I had a friend come down who does electrical work to check it. And he looked through it and he said, you did it correctly. So that was another proud moment for myself to be able to do that. Right now, I'm standing in a studio that I built. I framed it, drywalled, mud, wallpapered, and I ran the electrical through the wall. It was just one outlet in this side of the basement, but I ran it to each wall, and I ran it up the wall and put these sconces in the wall. So again, learning some things that I had no clue that I was capable of doing, but through faith and trust and a lot of homework and research, I've taught myself to do quite a few things. And these are some things that, not the electrical, but I've been able to offer as services. I've done a few closets outside of my home, and I've also helped build cabinetry up in the laundry room, all kind of light fixtures. Through these skills, you know, again, not even knowing that I was capable of doing those things. Growing up, I was not around anyone who build things. So my initial fear was that I would lose a limb, that I would seriously hurt myself. So I watched videos on all the ways that you can possibly hurt yourself first. And then I went back and watched videos on the proper ways to use tools. Or I didn't purchase any tools brand new. I would go to thrift shops and pawn shops, and that's where I would get my tools at secondhand. But since then, I've definitely started the collection of my tool set where I get new tools. I actually last year bought this beveled saw, miter saw, that it turns at each angle and it slides. And I know it sounds weird to get excited over a tool, but I absolutely love that saw. And I have like cut 90-degree angles. I've made really cool flower boxes for our church altar with them, like an octagon box. And I'll show you photos of that as well. But just being so excited about tools, I would have never thought that I would be the person that when it comes to tools is like I'm like a kid in a candy shop. Um, but it's a wonderful thing to have learned about myself. one of the other things that I've learned through helping, like I said, a friend of mine, she's an evangelist. She wanted to do Eminem Mondays, and that was Manifestation and Motivation Mondays, Motivation and Manifestation Mondays. And she wanted to do these recordings for like 12 weeks at a time. And she wanted to promote them on her page. Well, since we had the studio, she would come here with all of her change, like 12 or 13 sets change of clothes and shoes and jewelry. And she would set it up and she would come into the studio and I would record her. Each video was probably, no more than 8 minutes, 10 to 8 minutes. But we would do all the videos in that few hours. And then she would release them every Monday. Well, that required me to learn a skill set of producing and editing videos. And they turned out really nice. And we did that. I don't know. I think we did like 3 sessions of that, 3 sessions of 12 videos at a time, 12 to 13 videos at a time. And what she would do, she would pray on it and we would brainstorm. And I take a big post-it note and put it to the wall. And she put down all the different topics that she wanted to discuss, and we would go through them and we would record. And then I would take the footage up to my office and I would, edit the videos for her. And then she would get them out. I would also take that as an opportunity to do photo shoots as well. So I didn't even know I had that skill or could even do that. My son helped me out a lot in the beginning, Victor. But after I got the hang of the software, the app, yeah, I was on a roll. I could really do some amazing things with that editing software. Just to reiterate, I am in the studio and I have a couple of things going on here. So right now I have it so that I can design a couple of different ways. I have a few chairs that we can sit in. And again, I'm going to share some of the videos that I've done over the past few years. What I do, and it's my process, I would try to record everything. I would try to record all my builds. I would record my interviews. I record my chat sessions. And then I would upload them to my YouTube channel, but then I would put them on private. And it wasn't until mid last year I started taking some of them off private, but I still didn't tell anybody about them. So a lot of people don't know that they're out there. There's a few that I would share the link for some people to watch, but I get pretty deep about some of my uh, past traumas, and I can go pretty deep on some of the things that I've learned in my life experiences from being a child. And, it's a situation where I felt very vulnerable and very exposed. So I didn't want to promote it, but I was okay if somebody stumbled across it. And, but it was lethargic and very therapeutic for me to be able to record some of those things and say them out loud. I encourage anyone to really do that um, if you have an opportunity to just sit and even if you're just recording, an opportunity to just sit and record, voice record. But it can be very therapeutic to record and speak out loud some of the things that you've dealt with and had to get through, and that God was able to reveal to you the blessing and the mess of it all. Because when you're going through it, you don't understand the blessing of what you're going through and where it's taking you to, and how it's molding and shaping you into the person that you are to become for Christ. And that is another thing, my journey in understanding my Bible and reading my Bible and knowing Jesus for myself. I was not brought up in the church as a young child, but when I met my husband, I think we were probably, I don't know, we met at 15, so I want to say I was probably closer to 17. And I remember saying to him, I don't know what I believe. And man, did he run and tell his grandmother that this girl don't know what she believed. And his grandmother scooped me up and she was like, if you don't have any pantyhose, I got some for you. I got a dress for you. You go on to Sunday school with me. And she started taking me to Sunday school with her. And that was Burnett Baptist. And that was a blessing because that started the journey. But even then, I was going through the motions of attending church. I wasn't seeking to learn. And it's been the past, I want to say the past, since COVID, it's been the past 4 years that I have really, really made an effort to really try and understand the life, the death, the resurrection of Jesus Christ and what that means for us and understanding it and sharing it. And at first it was intimidating because trying to read through the Bible, I would get caught up on the thous and the thys and it was a lot for me to go through and to try and understand and interpret. Um, but then you get your concordance and you get your dictionary and now social media and you go to Bible study and you ask all these questions. And I am flourishing right now in this time in my life with just learning so much and being able to share so much about Jesus. And it is such a wonderful place to be in for me right now. For my husband as well. We're on this journey together. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing for sure. So I'll continue down that path. Um, our children, they also have their own businesses as well. We are a firm believer, again, if they have a skill set, a talent, or a hobby, that is a business. And we gifted them their own LLCs for their graduation. And with my son, well, both of them, they didn't touch them, but we made sure that we kept up with them yearly, that they were in good standing with the state of Michigan, their LLCs. But then when they needed them, so this past November, December, my son and I had an opportunity to go into one of the local charter schools up the street, and he was able to offer a self-defense class in martial arts to the students. And I went in and I did etiquettes, and with my friend Rashonda, uh, she was able to do the entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs. And these were, for me and her, it was little girls all under the age of 12. And it was it was more for me, I believe, than it was for them. I just love children and I love giving them tools and skill set and um, you know, that will make their lives, it's an imprint on them. And, those types of things are carried with you for life. When you learn how to use a fork and a knife and you learn how to budget. And they were given a budget at the beginning of the class, and then we told them you had to pay your rent, you had to pay your car note, you had to pay bills, utilities. And one of the little girls walked out of the classroom when her mother picked her up, and she's like, "Mom, I got to pay rent." And it was just, it was such a sweet moment because her mother is like, "You got to pay rent." But getting them to understand the concept of money management at the second and third grade level, something many of us never received, and we learned on our own through trials and tribulation and debt and hardship, right? So it was a wonderful experience to be able to go into the classroom. But getting back to Victor, he was able to then take his LLC that he had had since 2019, and he hadn't used it, but he was able to buy equipment for the classes and go directly to the wholesaler himself because he had his own business. So that was a blessing because he was then able to turn around and resell the product or the safety equipment to the students and the families. So that was just wonderful that he had this LLC that he can do that with. Again, Victor has been doing martial arts since he was 9 years old. He's a second degree black belt in Taekwondo, but he's also been teaching mixed martial arts. And, um, he is a powerhouse in itself. He can do a lot of things, and there's a lot of services that he offers as well. And then our daughter, Perry Lauren, she's the middle child. She just launched and started up her own math tutoring. She was a math major in college, and she set up her own math tutoring site using her LLC. And she had hers since 2016, since she graduated, and hadn't used it, but it was on the shelf there waiting for her when she was ready. So those are other services if you're interested in that we can also get those going as well. Let's see. So this is on subject but off subject. I think I think I'll stop right now and change up the scenery. I told you I wanted to be a short video, but it's going to be a little bit longer. But I'm going to stop the video, change up the sceneries. There's a few more things I want to talk about.